Hello stamping friends, this is Sandra with Krafty Kreations with Sandra. Welcome to our weekly class. We're going to make some cute cards today. But I wanted to show you the catalog finally. I'm able to show it to you. So the catalog went live yesterday. I just wanted to leaf through it briefly. This Strong of Heart makes a $3 donation to heart health support, so to support heart health. So that's kind of interesting and good. And then we're going to have some Christmas kits. They're not in the catalog, they're going to be online, but as soon as they're online, I'm going to let you know. They're going to be easy kits. So if you have any friends who want to start, but they're intimidated by not knowing, I'm going to have a beginner's class soon. And then there's a bunch of Christmas stamps. Look at this, gingerbread and peppermint. That's so cute. I'm just going to go real quick. And this is the frosted gingerbread stamp set, and it has a coordinating dies. As usual, they're in a bundle. Look at this one for people who give away baked goods. That's pretty neat. It's called Sweets and Treats. And then there's this one called Merry Snowflakes, and it's got these awesome snowflake dies. These are the dies. And then Stars Are Shining. These are ornaments and stars. And they have a coordinating punch. A punch that punches out stars. I know you can't see. It's kind of far, but if you didn't get your catalog, let me know. Look, the Wiseman. Great Tidings. And then this one is Christmas Season and Christmas to Remember, and they all seem to be greenery. Pine cones and holly leaves and just greenery. Look at these cute little gold embellishments. They're leaves, and then this cherry cobbler and gold metallic ribbon. That's pretty. Anyway, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but after all of these Christmas stamps, and I want to show you two of my favorites. So I really like this one on page 23 because they're very, very useful for any year. They won't go out of style. And then I also like this one on page 29. It's called Holly Jolly Wishes, and I had mentioned it to you before. I even showed it to you last week. Because all of these sentiments will be good for year after year after year. And so if candy canes are popular, or if pine cones are popular, or snowflakes, your sentiments will not be out of style. And look at this one with little dogs and cats. Sweet stockings. But what I really want to show you is there are some, the penguin set is super popular, and it goes with one of the free papers in celebration. I wanted to show you there are fall. There's some winter stuff. I'm just going through real fast. There's some poinsettias, but I'm looking for the fall. Look at this beautiful paper. We're going to have a paper share. I'm going to post the information later today. Look, but the fall starts here. The leaves and the trees on page 46. And the pumpkins and the squirrels, just a lot to look at. And then there's Halloween in this catalog. This one has another punch, a pumpkin, a cat, and a ghost that go along with the stamp set. And then there's several Halloween stamp sets. This one's kind of cute. It has cats, like not friendly looking cats. And then there's more harvest, kind of fall. Okay, so I'm not going to show you anymore because you can go through it. And like I said, if you don't have the books, the catalogs, let me know. And starting on page 65, there's a summary of all of the bundles that you could see. Remember, you saved 10%, so there's all of the bundles. All right? And then we're having Celebration, and those of you who have been around for a while know Celebration is that you get free items for every $50 purchase. And so there's this mini catalog that would have been inside of this package, and we used this already last week. And there's a whole variety of items that you can get. We also used this paper last week, and we used the sheep dies and the stamp set. Anyway, take a look, and if you have any questions, let me know. So look at what I got. Isn't that exciting? It's a mouse pad. It has my name. Isn't it neat? I'm excited. The things that excite me. Okay, so for our first card, we're going to make... Hi, Julia. We're going to make an easel card. And this is the easel card. And of course, the dog has to start barking when we start class. It's rather simple. We're using the Flowers of Friendship bundle. And the bundle includes the stamps and the punch. So we're going to be using that. So we're going to start off. I did give you the list of items that you needed. I'll put this over here. I think you can still see some of it. Let me see. Let me move this over. There, you can still see it. So we're starting with a card base that is 4 1/4 by 11. And we want to score it at 3 inches and 5 1/2 inches. So if I don't remember if I gave you the score measurements, but score at 3 inches and 5 1/2 inches. Okay. Then you're going to need a piece of white, basic white, that measures 4 by 5 1/4. I'm just going to review all the pieces. Then you're going to need a piece of designer series paper that measures, hold on, oh, I have the measurements right here. No, I don't. 4 1/8 by 2 7/8. 4 1/8 by 2 7/8. All right. And then you need a piece of coordinating cardstock that matches it. That's going to be the same size as this. 4 1/8 by 2 7/8. Right? These two are the same size. And then this one is slightly smaller because it's going to be matted on this piece. And this piece measures 2 3/4 by 4. 2 3/4 by 4. So this is going to go here. And then this is going to go on the front. And I've already stamped and punched out my flowers, but I'll show you how it's done anyway. I just didn't want to take forever. All right, so let's fold our card base. We're going to fold both score lines in the same direction. We're going to fold the card in half, and then we're going to fold the other score line in the same direction, all right? Because this is what's going to make our easel right here. And then we're going to stamp. And I'm going to show you a new technique. And of course, here are my, we're going to mask. And this mask means you're going to cover parts of the stamp that you don't want to have stamped on your paper. Okay, so we're going to do, I'm cutting two Post-it notes, because what I want to mask is the flowers. I just want to stamp, let me make it smaller. I'm covering the flowers. You see that? And I'm covering this flower So when I ink it, I won't be putting ink on the flowers. And then the third flower is going to be a smaller piece, and I'm just cutting a piece of Post-it so that I can cover that. Now you see I covered all the flowers. And then when I ink it, and my black ink is really juicy, so it's kind of messy sometimes. I'm just going to ink it. Make sure I get all my stems. And then I'm going to remove the mask. I'm going to remove these carefully that I don't get ink everywhere. And so now you can see that I kind of missed this little tiny little piece right here. So I'm just rubbing it off. So there are all of my leaves and my stems inked. And I'm going to stamp that right here in the center of my white panel. Okay? So there I have my leaves and my stems, and I'm going to put my punched out flowers. Alright, so the next thing that we would do, oh, and I didn't mention I have a scrap of Furry Flamingo and a scrap of Just Jade, which we will use to stamp the flowers. And what you want to do is you want to look at the punch. The big flower looks like a T, and the little flower looks like an X. So when you stamp them like they are on the punch. So the big flower we're going to stamp like a T, like that. You see? And the little flower we're going to stamp like an X. So you put it on your block so it'll look like an X. So when you punch it out, it'll fit perfectly, you see? And this one, when I punch it out, it'll fit perfectly in there. Can you see? So I just have to stamp them in the direction. I'm just going to punch one of each in the direction that they are on the punch. That way I won't have any trouble lining up my punch. And you have to be careful because there's all these other pieces, so when you stamp, don't stamp them too close together. Okay, so that's how we do our flowers. And then let me show you how we do the leaves, because we do this a similar examination of the punch. Hold on. We're going to look at the punch again. And we're going to take the big flower and punch it slanted to the right. So we're going to stamp it like this. So it's right here. We're going to stamp it like this. And leave enough space. I'm going to do 3. I don't know how many I need, but. And then the small flower, you see the point is pointing up and it's slanted to the right. So I'm going to do 3 of those, leaving plenty of room between them. So you see how? Yeah, you like the masking. It's masking. Like a mask. Because that way you can use any stem from any stamp and then use any flower from any other stamp. Or a punch. Okay, so now we're going to punch. Hold on. I got ink on my hands. I got inky fingers. It's no matter how careful I am, especially after I inked my black ink pads. They get all over the place. You can use Post-it notes, or you can also use Scotch tape. I've used my Scotch tape earlier, so I moved it. It wasn't here, but you can also just take little strips of Scotch tape and cover up the flowers. So once again, we're gonna match. I'm going to cut this apart, and I'm going to punch going right to left. Look, I'm just lining up my leaf. There's one leaf, and then I'm just gonna push over, slide over, and there's my second leaf. You see, and it doesn't matter that I'm having these extra pieces punched out because it's just all scrap. Then my last one, and you see how much I needed space between the leaves so that I didn't end up punching the leaf accidentally. Oops, I just dropped that one. Oh no, here it is. There's 3. Okay, so we'll have 3 of each. And now we're gonna do the small one, and we're gonna do this in the opposite direction. We're gonna put it in this way. Can you see how it's lining up? Hi, Mary. That's called masking. I see, I'm just repeating it so you can remember it. And then this looking at your punch is really important so that you don't end up wasting too much paper. All right, there are my leaves. And I have all these little bits because there's so many pieces in this punch. All right, so just clear out my punch and then get rid of all those extra trash pieces. All right, so now let's work on this focal point. We're gonna mat this here, so we can go ahead and glue that. And I'm using Flirty Flamingo, and I forgot to tell you what paper I'm using. I am using the paper called In Symmetry, I believe it's called. If you did the paper share, you do have this paper. So one of the things I try to do during these classes is I try to use what you have while I introduce you to new things. But if you are part of the paper shares every time and you get these papers, I try to use them so that you will have ideas of how to use them. And here's the one we're using. And it's called, oh, Sweet Symmetry. Sweet Symmetry. Okay? It's got beautiful colors, bright, vibrant colors. Okay, so there's our stems. And now we need some dimensionals. And we're just going to put a dimensional. We're going to put one large flower. I'm going to put a dimensional behind the large flower. And I'm going to put that right here. I can turn it any way I want. You might want to dry fit them before you do that, so you know how they're going to fit. Alright, so that they're going to fit that way. And since I'm putting a dimensional right in the center, I can always tuck the leaves in later. I don't have to worry that the leaves aren't on yet. So I am just doing, look, I'm going to do it like this so that this leaf will show more. And then I'm just going to take some glue, put a little bit of glue on the leaf, and tuck it in. And there's one right there. Just have to make it look like it's coming out of the, and then we're going to do one more, a little bit of glue, and this one goes here. I'm just covering the printed leaf. And then a big one over here on the bottom, right there. And then a small one right here. So you see, I paper pieced my bouquet, and there it is. Isn't that pretty? All right, so now let's move on to the inside of our card. Let's set this aside. I still have some details for this, but I'll show you in a minute. So for the inside of our card, we're going to use this little strip of flowers. And I used the happy birthday from the ice cream set. So let me get a block. You should see my workspace. It's worse than ever because I'm working on 2 different card kits. Hold on. I have to find the flirty flamingo. I had it over there, set aside. So I'm going to just ink up my stamp, and I'm going to stamp this across the bottom, and then I'm going to ink it across the top. I'm not measuring or anything, I'm just putting it across. That didn't turn out perfect, but oh well, what can I do? It's so hard to stamp when I can't be above, and then this was in the way and I didn't move it. Okay, so here's our happy birthday. If you wanted to, you could use any of these sentiments. Life is better with friends like you. Thank you for everything. Many thanks from all of us. Little card, big thanks. Those are pretty sweet. I like this one a lot. So let's just let's give this one a try. Friends are better with, life is better with friends like you. I like that one. Let me just find a block. Let's find a block as if they're lost. They're all full. So the way that I do it is I try to make it straight on my block. So I use the bottom and I use the words. I don't use the edge of the stamp because that's never straight. And so there, I think I said it straight. Oops, I'm using the wrong color. But then I have to practice to see if it looks straight. It does look straight. And I think I do want to stamp it in black because then it'll coordinate better with my black cardstock for my card. So let me just clean that real quick. Use my chamois. Just press it in and kind of twist it. So let's do it in black. I see no excuses. I'm going to make it straight. I'm not pressing very hard. Tap, tap, tapping. Life is better with friends like you. I kind of think I have over there. Ooh, pretty good. I'm amazed. All right. So now we're going to adhere this panel onto the inside of our card. That's pretty simple. You can stamp anything you want, keeping in mind that your stopper will be right here somewhere. That'll make your card stand. So you don't want to stamp right here. You're going to stamp above, like from half of up and above, right? And then on the front, we're going to adhere this piece of designer series paper. We could change it up, but I definitely like the other side better. You can use any of those patterns. So it's going to have a tiny border, an 1/8 of an inch, a 1/16 of an inch. And then just use If you open it this way, you can see the border better. Ooh, oh, it's not very straight. That's better. Okay. Now I have to adhere this piece, and it goes right in the center. It's only going to have glue on the bottom half, and I'm going to glue that on there. But let's finish this real quick. I used a black marker. I used my soft basic black. I used the blend, and I colored the centers black. Look at that. I don't have any gems or jewels that are this big, especially that big. So then I colored that, and then I took these elegant faceted gems, and these are clear. Oh, and I learned something today. Let me show you. I'm excited. You know how you always open these packages and then to put this back in, it gets caught in the adhesive and it's hard to put back in? Well, so today I learned some people cut this edge off, and then you can just slide it in and out. Look at that. Isn't that awesome? New tip. I just learned it. Okay? I like it a lot. I hope you like it too, because it is a hassle trying to squeeze that back in. So I'm going to use one of the big ones on the large flower, and then I'm going to use two of the smaller ones on the smaller flowers. And then it looks like they're black gems, but they're just transparent, and then the black is showing through. So isn't that neat? You just color the inside of whatever you're going to put them over, and then they'll become that color. Pretty neat. All right, so now we're going to adhere this onto the front of the card. I'm going to center it right in the center here, and then I'm going to keep track of where I want glue. So I'm going to keep my finger right here. So I only want glue on the bottom half, and I want plenty of glue, just not very close to the border, to the edge. And then I'm going to center it once again. Try to have even sides, even top and bottom. The glue will give me a second or two to slide it around if I need to. I can use the grid marks on my paper. Oh, and by the way, I've been meaning to tell you. Did you know that we sell this paper in the catalog? It is in the catalog. It's in the back pages. So there is our easel card. So now we just have to build or put in our stopper. And our stopper is going to be one of the big flowers with 2 leaves. And what I did was I took the leaves and I glued them together at an angle like this. And then I put a little bit more glue on the top leaf, and I glued that to the side of the, I have a black edge right there that I will make. I do that here. So that's going to be my little stopper, or my little, yeah, I don't know what to call it, the stopper. And then I'm going to take 2-dimensional. Let me see if I can put 2 or just one. I think I can put 2. I'm going to put them right next to each other. The leaves give me a little bit more space. Okay, and then I'm going to set this as far up as I want my paper, my easel to go up. If I wanted to stand up real high, I could put it all the way up here in the middle here, or higher. I'm going to set it right here. So I think that's enough. And then we can do the same thing to this flower. Use the black marker. Fill in the center. And slide out my gems. Ha ha ha! Isn't that awesome? And put it right in the center. And then I slide my gems back in. No hassle. I just love it. Okay, so that's our card number 1. Did you like it? Don't forget, if you make them, I want to see them. Post them. Okay, so now give me a second to clean up. Because I got a lot of inky stamps all over the place. And we all know what that means. The color's gonna go where you don't want it to go. So let me just clean those off. Even I'm not gonna put them away, but at least they won't be stamping anything that I don't want stamped. And then this one. So there are our 2 cards. One is a birthday card, and then one is a friendship card. Awesome. Okay, so then let me tell you, I have these extra flowers. I just keep them and put them in a baggie. Eventually I might need a flower and it'll be there. Okay, so let's move on to card number 2. Did you like it? Any color, any paper, any flower, you could do this. It's called masking. Masking. Hold on, let me get a drink of water. I'll put this over here. Okay, so for card number 2, we're going to use the same stamp set. And this is a drapery card, a drapery fold. And what I love about this is also, if you were in the paper share, actually that's not true. If you're in the color club, this is Magenta Madness. And then I use the blends, and then I use the jewels. These jewels are the new jewels. It's polished pink, but you can't tell the difference. So we're gonna use that fold, and there's that stamp, and maybe this time we'll make it a happy birthday card. So I want to make it in one of the new in colors. And I kind of have 2 cards halfway done, and I'm going to tell you why. So let's put this right here. I have a card base that's 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. So we can go ahead and fold that and burnish the fold. And then I have a piece of white that measures 2 1/4 by 4, and I've already stamped it, but I'm going to show you how to do that in a second. What happened is that I wanted to show you how to color, and I was expecting to do this one and show you how to color, but then I realized I don't have the pale papaya blends. So then I stopped myself so that I could show you how to color differently. Anyway, sorry, I just confused myself. You have a piece of 6 by 6, and we're going to cut it. Decide which side you want to use. I want to use this side, so I'm gonna cut it at 5 1/2. Okay, I want a 5 1/2. I'm gonna cut at the bottom because my card is just 5 1/2. So I'm gonna cut 1/2 inch off the bottom. I'm going to cut 1/2 inch, and I'm just going to use the 1/2 inch on the right hand side. So now I have a piece that is 6 by 5 1/2. Okay, now I'm going to take it and I'm going to turn it counterclockwise. I'm going to put it in my trimmer and I'm going to cut it corner to corner. So this is 6, this is 5.5. I'm going to turn it this way so my 6 is up here. I don't want it this way, okay? I want the 6 to be on the left hand side. And I'm going to cut it corner to corner. I'm going to put the corner in the cutting line and the corner in the cutting line down here. And I'm just going to split it in half. If your paper doesn't have direction, you can get 2 cards out of this one piece. This is one card, and this would be the other card, just like this. If your paper has direction, then this would be upside down. So it's possible. So it wouldn't work. But this one doesn't have direction, so I end up with 2. All right. So I still have my 6 inches up here. Now I'm going to score. And I'm going to score at 1 3/4. I'm scoring on the 6-inch side. Okay, don't forget, this is 5.5, this is 6 inches. 1 3/4. I'm going to score there. Be rather gentle, especially if you have an older trimmer. 1 3/4. 2 1/4. We're going to do a series of 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch, 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch. I just did 1/2 inch, so now we're going to add 3/4, which is going to be 3 inches. Score. 3 1/2. Score. 4 1/4. Score. 4 3/4. And 5 1/2. It was a sequence of 1/2, 3/4, 1/2, 3/4. Okay? So I have 1 3/4, 2 1/4, 3, 3 1/2, 4 1/4, 4 3/4, and 5 1/2. Those are my score lines. Okay, I don't need these, but like I tell you, you can make another card. Okay, so now I'm going to start by folding. I'm going to fold the very tip, I'm going to fold it forward. And then I'm going to fold back and forth, back and forward, and I have to see the score line there. Be sure you're in the light. This is such light paper, it's hard to see. And then my score lines weren't very deep. So I'm just folding back and forth, back and forth. And then I'm trying to make sure that they line up here. Okay? So I'm just folding over. There's my other score mark. I didn't score very hard. Push a little harder. Okay, so there are my score marks. Now I can use my bone folder. I started with the smallest one at the tip, forward, and then I went back, forward, back, forward, back. All right, I have that. Now I can take some tear and tape or some seal, and I've started to use this seal and I really like it. I'm going to put seal up here. And then it's going to stick. Okay, and then I'm going to put a little bit of seal here. You could put tear and tape or you could put glue. Either one works. You could put a dot of glue. You just have to hold it a bit. Oops. Didn't want it to come out. That glue works fine. I have a little bit of extra glue there, so I'm just going to take it off and I have to hold it. a little longer than well, with the seal I didn't have to hold it. Just making sure it sticks. Okay, and I'm going to take my folded card. What in the world? And I'm going to adhere it right here to the right edge, all the way to the top, all the way to the bottom. Okay? So I'm going to use glue. But I really like the seal. I'm going to put glue all the way down and all the way over on these pieces right here. On this square, on this big square. Right? And I want my glue to get close to the edge, but don't put too much because it's going to ooze out. And then I'm going to put a little bit of glue on this little strip right here. Okay. I'm milking this glue. It's been empty for a while now. But it keeps working, so I keep using it. And I'm going to pick up my piece and I'm going to line them up at the very corner. Right there. Once it's lined up, then I can press and it's going to adhere. So now I remember I didn't have fresh freesia. I don't think I have fresh freesia ribbon. I don't remember. I made too many cards between then and now to remember. I should have fresh freesia. Let me see. You like my bag? I got it free from AARP. So I don't have fresh freesia. So this is a good lesson in use what you have. I have white crinkle ribbon and I have the polka dot ribbon. So we're going to adhere this about, leaving about even space between here and here. Center it in this section right here. Okay? What I was kind of doing too is kind of lining up the corner right here to meet this edge right here. Can you see that? Hi, Irene. Hi, Rosa. All right, so we're gonna put it there. And I'm gonna add it with dimensionals. So we're gonna put a bunch of dimensionals every corner. And then I'm gonna put in the middle. And then I'm going to put two more between those four. Then I'm going to use, and I'm going to stamp it right now for you after I finish this one, okay? Because I want to show you how to color if you don't have the markers. So I'm just going to center it. There. Whatever looks good to you is good. Remember, it's your card. Okay, so I think this is too small. Although, too narrow is what I meant to say. Although if I went around twice, it might look okay. I'm just experimenting here, trying to decide. I think the doubles will look good. Let me cut this here. And let me fold this in half so I can do the wraparound a little better. Wrap it around twice. Don't let it curl or fold on you in the back. Make sure it's straight. And then pull together, let's see, and then I can make my bow. I can attempt to make my bow. I'm going to slide it up before I tighten it, because since it's so flimsy, it may not want to cooperate later. Let me make my bow in the middle and then slide it. You know, bow making is not the easiest when you're on camera. There, we got it. Okay, that's pretty decent for the first try. And now what I want to do is I'm going to slide it over, because I want the bow over here on this side, and I'm going to trim it. I think that looks pretty nice. What do you think? I can slide it up a little bit. Hey, I like it. Okay. So then for some reason I don't have the white pieces. I must have borrowed them. 4 by 5 1/4. 5 1/4 by 4. And I need one for the other card. And I saved my 1/2-inch pieces for later. So let's see what I did in here. I did the same thing, top and bottom, and then a sentiment. So let's use fresh freesia. Top and bottom. I haven't been checking. I would have used the polka dot ribbon. Oh, you know why I didn't want to use the polka dot ribbon? Because it's going to disappear. That's what I thought. But that's what makes it your card. You see, I thought it was going to disappear. But you could always give it a try. It's whatever you have and whatever you know, it's never wrong. Alright, so see if I can get this straight. Put this here. Get my ink out of the way so I don't make the same mistake. And then this time I think I'm going to do the sentiment in the same color. And I think I'm going to do, well, I'm going to keep it the same because I don't want to have to figure out the outside sentiment. But when you're doing it, you can figure out your sentiments ahead of time. So life is better with a friend like you. We'll go right there. With friends like you. Isn't that pretty? So I have these. Let me put this inside my card. Oh, this is the empty one. The one I keep squeezing glue out of. If you keep banging it like that, you eventually get a little more glue out of it. And it's good for flowers or good for leaves. Not back panels, because you don't get this much. You just get a tiny bit at a time. Okay, there's my inside panel. Isn't that soft and delicate? And then I used the layering ovals, and I did a tiny one and then the next one up. But I just learned something else that I'm going to teach you. Hold on. I'm just getting a scrap of white. I'm going to stamp. I'm going to stamp the thank you. So I haven't tried it. I just saw somebody do it. And I thought it was a really good idea. So here's my sentiment. And I'm just going to stamp it right in the center. It's just a scrap. And then I'm going to take my tailor tag punch. Let me just spot it. Tailor tag punch. Where are you? Right there in front of me. This punch. I'm going to center it and punch it out. Okay, so there's part one, and then part two. Part two is, give me a second. I'm looking for a scrap. That's not the scrap. Well, I was looking for a scrap, but I don't have a scrap, so I got a full sheet of paper. And then you just take a larger punch. It might be too big. But we already know that we can also do the tailor tag punch once again. So let me go ahead and punch that in case we don't like the other one. So we can be ready. I just used a larger punch. And what I saw was if you put this across here and this across here, it looks nice, but it is kind of too big. But do you see? That's kind of neat, huh? Just not for this card. I think maybe I'm going to do just half of it, so the white stands out here, and then the freesia stands out right here. We don't need any down here. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of glue here. And then I'm going to put it just so we can get some color on the left side. Then I'm going to take some dimensionals and put them on the right side. Put some glue on the top right here. You see what I'm doing? Because there's two layers. This already has dimensionals. So I don't want to put another dimensional here because then it'll tip it for me. So I'm going to do this. Yeah, simple. Okay, so now we can use the jewels, the in-color jewels, which are these, and we have Here, you see how I started doing that already? We have these fresh freesia ones. So I can just place them wherever I want. Pretty cute, huh? There are two colors, and what I wanted to show you, I'm not going to finish this card, but I'm going to show you what you can do if you don't have the blends. For this one, I used I'm going to use the pale papaya and a blender pen. You know how we do that all the time. Let me just stamp those flowers. I can spot where I put the flowers. Let me just stamp them real quick, and I'm just going to show you. So you can take your blender pen, and if you don't have blender pens, this is the best way to have markers in every color. You press your ink pad so that you can get color on the top right here, or on the bottom, whatever that is. And then you use your blender pen so what I did here, I just do the bottom first, kind of full strength, so it's going to be darker. See what I'm doing? So I'm pulling from the bottom up, and then I'm going to start filling in. Pulling from the bottom up, and then I'm going to start filling in. So it'll be a little bit darker on the bottom, and a little bit lighter on the top. You see? Can you see what I'm doing? So I'm grabbing the ink, I'm starting at the bottom, moving my way up. This marker is just a wet marker, so it'll color in whatever ink you put it in. So there, I did the flower, and you would do the next one the same. Start at the bottom when you have a lot of ink, and then bring up when it's lighter. Then grab more ink, start at the bottom or at the base of the flower, and then you just fill in. And that's because I don't have the pale papaya markers. But if you have the markers, let me show you something else. Then you just take this and you clean it by rubbing it on a paper until there's no more color. Because the next time you use it, you'll be able to use it with whichever color you want. But if you do have the blends, now I don't have the fresh freesia. These are purple posy, but it's going to be pretty close. I just want to show you. You take the dark one and you do the outline. Just do the outline and do the centered lines. Since this is such a small flower, I'm not going to do the center lines. And then I'm going to take the light one and I'm just going to fill it in. And it should be two-toned once it dries. So this is how I would color if I have the blends. But if not, I can use the blender pen, and there's 3 of these in each package. So this is very economical if you haven't started your blends collection, to get these and then use them with your markers. And for the leaves, I also took the soft succulent. I did the same thing. I did the lines, and this time I'm just going to do the inside lines, and then I'm going to do the rest of the leaf with the lighter, and that way you get a bit of a shadow in the center, so you can kind of see the veins. You kind of blend them, but you still get two tones once it's dry. So that's how you do it. And the way that you build your blends collection is I would suggest you buy one per month. Every time you order, add a blend. The pair is $9. And I would buy like the red and the yellow and the orange and the blue to start with. Or you could buy the ink colors. But anyway, I know I messed this up, but this would have gone here. And then we would finish our card exactly the same way. You know, and you don't have to do it monochromatic. I could have done this pink in 3 different colors if I wanted to. So anyway, those are our cards for today. The drapery fold. Oh, and I have one more tip for here. You can take some bits and pieces, some half dimensionals cut in half. Stick it with your piercing tool, or take your pick tool, pick it up, and then you can sneak it in there. So I kind of did a half here and a half here, and that way it doesn't look like it's gonna fall apart on me, like it's gonna undrape. There's one more right here. You gotta do halves so that they'll fit. Now you can really see the drape, but they are pretty secure. I can actually do one more right here. I did do it here. So there are our cards. I hope you like them. Our easel cards and our drapery cards. Any questions? I'm glad you like them, Irene. I love them too. Okay, well, I'll see you next week. I have a fun project planned already. I'm going to teach you how to make envelopes. 3 different sizes. It's pretty neat. Alright, have a nice week. If you have any questions or any additional comments, just type them in and I will read them in a little while. I will do the drawing for the cards for this week, and then I'll announce who won them. And the last thing that I can think of is I will post the paper share information, and I will post the August challenge information tonight. So see you next week. Bye-bye. Thank you.